Hello. Welcome to replay viewers. Hope you guys are having a great summer. Hope you enjoyed reading Chronicles of Avonlea. I'm excited to be talking about a short story collection. This is, I'm trying to remember, the only short story collection of mods that we have this year. Although the Story Girl kind of reads like a short story collection. My book is short and sweet. Kind of got the perfectly vintage vibe. Hello, Jeanette. Welcome here. How's everyone's summer going? We have today feels like autumn. It has felt like this on and off all summer. So I'm excited about that. No complaints. Hey, Lindy. Welcome. You're having a good summer. I like that. Hey, Dia. Welcome here. Hello, Danielle. Are you guys cooking where you are heat-wise? Or I think our high today, what was it? I think it was, okay, currently it's 18 degrees Celsius. I'm going to figure out what this is. 64.4 degrees Fahrenheit has been our high today. And rain. Couldn't get my hands on a physical copy, so I listened to the audiobook. Oh, I think it would be a really interesting listen. That's cool. Although I do like a physical copy. It's been raining the past 2 days where Lindy is. I like rain. North Idaho high was 70. Okay, so it's a little warmer than here, but not that much. Currently 25 degrees at 8 p.m. Yeah. That was our yesterday. And then today just dropped. It's just kind of been back and forth. Anyway, I am very curious to hear thoughts on Chronicles of Avonlea. General thoughts overall to start, and then we will fairly quickly go through each short story because I feel like one has to, give it a star rating and overall thoughts, but each story can obviously be different one from the other. I think it was like a 4-star book for me personally. I struggle with rating short story collections because to give it 5 stars, I feel like every short story or almost every short story has to be 5 stars. I didn't go through. Usually what I do with short story collections is I will leave a sticky note at the top of the short story with my star rating, and I, for whatever reason, didn't do that this time. But I did create a little sticky note at the end to leave a few thoughts about them. Why did I not give them star ratings? I just realized that now. Well, oh well. But overall, I thought it was really sweet, very on brand for L.M. Montgomery. There's some of these stories I feel like I've seen variations of them either in the Anne books or in some other short stories of hers that I've read. We've got the small town vibes that she's known for, the very nosy people vibes that she's known for. Definitely appreciate that, her just staying true to herself. She's got some characters in some of these stories that I'll dive into a little bit more that remind me of specific characters from the Anne books and stuff like that. Some of her themes of religion come through, like we see in some of her other books about, you have to, like the Methodists and the Presbyterians, like they don't really get along, or they can get along, but they don't respect each other. Like some of those themes come through here. Overall, it was a very pleasant read. 12 stories. I read them all fairly quickly. It kind of reads, because they are, in Avonlea, it kind of reads as a book where you're following different characters for each chapter. So the very first short story is The Hurrying of, I don't even know how to say his name, I just realized, Ludovic. Mr. Speed, who was not so speedy, who took, how many years? 15 years he was dating this lady, Theodora. Was it even more than 15 years? And it wasn't until they set up a situation where he got a little jealous of Theodora. They had this older widowed man, I think he was widowed, pretend to be interested in her to get him, I don't know, picking up his pace, showing some interest. This is very similar to a chapter that we had in one of the Anne books, a recent-ish one. I don't remember the exact story, but it reminded me a lot of a scene or a chapter that we've read before. Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome here. My comment for the first short story was just that it was very similar to a previous one. That one didn't feel like anything new, but it also was very on brand because it was very similar to one that she'd read before or written before. The second one is Old Lady Lloyd, and this one was much longer. It was a good chunk of the book. Yeah, okay. The first one felt very similar to one from an Anne book, yeah. Glad I'm not the only one that thought so. Old Lady Lloyd, I quite enjoyed this one. She was an old lady who everyone thought she was rich and a recluse because, I don't know, like she's too good for everyone. But it turns out she's actually super poor and can't afford new clothes, so she doesn't want to go to church because she's just wearing old stuff that she doesn't feel like is proper or fitting. But it was interesting to me that she, especially at the beginning of the story, when I didn't know her actual situation, she paid the smallest subscription to the minister's salary of anyone in the congregation. It was interesting to me that she's not attending church, but she is still paying a subscription, which I honestly don't know. Is a subscription to like the minister's salary, is that their tithe, or is that something different? It's something I've actually never looked up. I probably should have. I think some of these were reworked from published stories in magazines into her other books. Oh yeah, that would make sense. Feels right. But then Old Lady Lloyd, I'm trying to remember this story compared to all the others. Oh yeah, she's got Crooked Jack that works for her. He doesn't even realize that she's poor. And then there's Sylvia, who is the daughter of a man that Old Lady Lloyd loved when she was young. And she starts leaving gifts for her. And like all summer or however long this is, she leaves her all sorts of gifts, which I thought was just really sweet. The fact that she's leaving her gifts and she's not looking for praise, she's not looking for admiration, anything of the sort. She just wants to make Sylvia happy, just because of this old romance that she had years before. And yeah, she even gets involved in the sewing circle just to be closer to this young woman. And then, where was it? She got sick, right? I think so. I can't remember what happened here. Oh, she was... I feel like this one kind of gets confused with another story. Let's see here. The way she sacrificed for others hit me. I took the subscription via tithes, and it reminded me of the widow in the Bible who gave her last tenth. Oh, yeah, or her last dime. Yeah, that's a really good one. And then Sylvie. Oh yeah, because old Lady Lloyd goes and gets her this place for music, right? She got pneumonia. Yeah, now it's been over a month since I read this one. But she gets sick, and Sylvia finds out it's her, or kind of knew, I think, that it was her leaving her stuff. This one I wrote, loved the story, and this one I gave 5 out of 5 stars. So apparently I did. This is, I think, maybe the only one that I actually shared a star rating for. Definitely enjoyed that one. One of my favorites. Her generosity and kindness, yes. Loved that. Especially because everyone had such low expectations of old Lady Lloyd because they thought she was just this like stingy old lady that didn't want to share all her wealth. But her pride got in the way for sure. The next one was Each in His Own Tongue. I'm trying to remember now. We've got Old Abel. I have to refresh my memory on each of these. Oh, this is with Felix, the boy that played the violin really amazingly, but then his grandfather asked him to stop doing it. And he surprisingly completely listens, gives up playing the violin, even though it's kind of like torture to him to not do so. And then this lady is dying, and she wants Felix's grandfather to go because he's the preacher, right? And she wanted to believe in God. She was scared of hell, but she's scared still of God. And she just couldn't, despite Felix's grandfather's trying to like explanations and stuff, she just couldn't. It just couldn't click for her. And then Felix played some music. I'm trying to figure out where this was. She asked him to pray. And then he plays her some music. And then what were her words? I understand now, she said very softly. I couldn't see it before, and now it is so plain. I just feel it. God is a God of love. He can forgive anybody, even me. Even me. He knows all about it. I ain't scared anymore. He just loves me and forgives me as I've loved and forgiven my baby. As I'd have loved and forgiven my baby if she'd lived, no matter how bad she was or what she did. The minister told me that, but I couldn't believe it. I know it now. And he sent you here tonight, boy, to tell it to me in a way that I could feel it. I feel like this one it's powerful. I am not the kind of person that like personally feels a lot through music, but I have multiple people in my house that are. And so I could see this story really hitting them. Yeah, the music touched her soul. That's exactly it. Uh-huh. So because I personally like can't relate to that, it didn't hit me as hard as I think it would hit some people. Like I can see how some would absolutely love it. Lindy thinks this one's her favorite. I don't remember if I like came away with a favorite. I gotta remember all of them as we go through. Ooh, okay, this is cool. It made me think of my family reunion in June where my cousin, who's a professional violinist, played for us. It was so beautiful. Okay, yeah. I mean, if you have that like connection in that way, I can understand that. Yes, you get more from writing. I mean, different people are different, right? And I think that's something that's really cool about like the arts in general and just the different ways that God has gifted different people gifted people in different ways to reach people who need to be reached in different ways, right? Like there's like the visual arts and there's so many different ways that people can really feel that connection, I feel like sometimes. Number 4 was Little Joselyn. And there was a mention of Anne Shirley in here. We had a couple of those, I think, in the stories. I wrote a sweet story on this one, and now can I remember for the life of me what happened in this one? Oh, this was like another old lady that missed this young woman that was a girl back in the day. So Auntie Nan is kind of dying, and little Jocelyn is now an adult, and she comes and she sings to Jocelyn. I've got another one with like musical elements. That's 2 in a row where I don't feel like music usually comes up a lot in Maud's other writing. I'm trying to remember. Not to this extent. It's interesting that you would have 2 in a row. Also, my light is flickering. I'm not sure if it's coming through on there, but it's going to make me go a little squirrely. Might have to turn that off. Yeah, so this is the story that I was getting a little bit confused with Old Lady Lloyd because they're kind of similar. And Auntie Nan fell asleep. She had fallen on the sleep that knows no earthly waking, while little Jocelyn sang. Oh, that's 3 in a row because the girl in Old Lady Lloyd sang. Oh my goodness. Yeah, 3 in a row. I'm trying to like think if there's other instances, and I'm sure there are like throughout her books, but like 3 out of 4 here have been music related. More music from nature in other books. Yeah, totally. Like nature is a big theme for sure. But generally not music. Nature, writing, found family. Okay, then we've got The Winning of Lucinda. Oh, okay. This is... I got very confused at the beginning of the story. We just got introduced to so many people. And I underlined the third paragraph because we were getting introduced to all these Penhallows. In this instance, it was Alice Penhallow, daughter of young John Penhallow, who was to be married. Alice was a nice girl, but she and her wedding only pertain to this story insofar as they furnish a background for Lucinda. Hence, nothing more need be said of her. That just cracked me up. Like, we're using her wedding as the backdrop, but we don't need to talk about her. So this is Lucinda and another guy, trying to remember what his name is. They weren't talking to each other. They were kind of set to be married, or they were dating or something 15, 20 years ago. They had a quarrel 15 years ago. No one knows how it originated or anything about it except that Lucinda was in the wrong. We know that because Lucinda herself admitted it to us afterwards. But in the first flush of her rage, she told Romney she would never speak to him again as long as she lived. And he said he would never speak to her until she spoke first, because, you see, as she was in the wrong, she ought to make the first advance. And they never have spoken. So 15 years. They're just not talking. Yeah. Oh, is there more Penhallows in a Tangled Web? I've never read a Tangled Web. So I should read that soon and pay attention to that. I don't know if anyone else knows off the top of their head. So this is like a miscommunication trope story, because if they would just... It's not even miscommunication. They've both fully communicated. This is just a stubborn story, which is annoying. Why would you just not talk to someone for 15 years? They both still love each other. "15 years," murmured Mrs. George helplessly to the Dahlias. "Engaged for 15 years and never speaking to each other. Oh yeah, they've been engaged this whole time? Dear heart and soul, think of it. Oh, these Penhallows." Oh, I figured Lindy would know. She thinks there's more Penhallows in a Tangled Web, but read somewhere they are not related to these Penhallows, or they are a distant branch. She's got all the Maud info, Agatha Christie info. Go to Lindy for the details. Yeah, and then Lucinda got left at the wedding or something, and she had to walk home. And then at some point, she realizes she's going to have to walk home with Romney Penhallow. And so they do this silently. Oh man, like I'm trying to visualize this. You haven't talked to someone for 15 years. And then you got to walk home with them, and like for the good portion of it, you're just stewing inside because you can't talk to them. What was eventually the... What was the... Oh. They slipped, and she yelled at him. She swore at him. And then, like, instantly, they're just chatting. I mean, I guess they have 15 years worth of stuff to catch up on. That's funny. My note here was Maud likes her stories where characters are incredibly stubborn. So, like, yeah, different reasons. She really likes the stubborn characters. 15 years and then one little walk home fixes everything. Yeah. Oh man, I'm just trying to like picture this in real life. You know, you have acquaintances or relatives or whatever that are going through this. I'm like, just talk already. But stubborn people are stubborn people. Then we've got Old Man Shaw's girl. Oh, yeah. Old Man Shaw. I liked this guy. Oh, yeah. Lucy Maud Montgomery was stubborn. Yeah, that would make sense. I loved this description of Old Man Shaw. He had learned the rare secret that you must take happiness when you find it, that there's no use in marking the place and coming back to it at a more convenient season, because it will not be there then. And it is very easy to be happy if you know, as Old Man Shaw most thoroughly knew, how to find pleasure in the little things. He enjoyed life. He had always enjoyed life and helped others to enjoy it. Consequently, his life was a success, whatever White Sands people might think of it. I mean, that's kind of goals right there. Just, oh my goodness, it's like raining now. It's got very dark and it's raining. Learning to find the little things in life to enjoy is something I try to be intentional about, but it's easy to realize you're just kind of like coasting through life or not paying attention to life. It's one of the reasons I really like filming vlogs personally, because I find them, the ones I like to watch, are more interesting if there's just little snippets of people's captured life. Therefore, I'm looking at my life for little moments to capture, and it makes me more intentional about looking for the beauty. It's like, where, the question that I'm always asking myself is like, where is something beautiful in this moment that I can capture? And not just for the sake of filming it, but also for the sake of like enjoying the moment. So I really like Old Man Shaw. I don't remember anything about this story once again. It's a problem when you read 12 short stories in such quick succession. Oh, his daughter went to school for 3 years before coming back, and he was worried that she was going to, like, their little home wasn't going to be enough for her anymore after her time in the big city. And she was just so excited to be back. She says, "The world out there is a good place. I've had 3 splendid years, and I hope they'll enrich my whole life. There are wonderful things out there to see and learn, fine and noble people to meet, beautiful deeds to admire. But," she wound her arm around his neck and laid her cheek against his, "there was no daddy." That was so sweet. That one, it reminded me of Anne and Matthew, like that relationship. Oh, in Brisbane, overcast, rainy, and a bit gloomy, 17 degrees. Well, it's 17 degrees right now, too. Well, it was 18. And this is summer. So, same weather, but very different seasons. I was happy for father and daughter to be reunited. Yeah. Wow, the rain's really pouring. I don't know. It's just hazy now. Yeah, that was a very, very sweet story. Definitely makes me think of that Anne and Matthew relationship, which I kind of hate that Maud killed Matthew so early, because I would have loved to have seen more of their relationship through the books. And Olivia's bow is number 7. Once again, need to remind myself. About this one. Oh, right. This is the, like, I don't know, spinster aunt that all of a sudden is going to get married. And then Mr. Malcolm McPherson was what one would call instinctively, if somewhat tritely, a magnificent specimen of manhood. That line cracked me up because that did not feel like, when is this from? 1912. A magnificent specimen of manhood sounds much more modern than something that was written 100 plus years ago. Yeah, so he has these quirks that she's all of a sudden like, wait a minute, we can't get married. I can't live with you. You do all these things. And then she sent him away, and then she regrets it. They quickly dash out to I think the train station to get him. Yes. She makes a flying leap from the buggy and ran across the platform with her cape streaming behind her and all her brooches and chains glittering in the lights. And then she says she'll marry him. And then my comment on here was that I often feel like Aunt Olivia. Like, I feel so set in my ways and so irritated when like kids don't clean up after themselves, when I've said it so many times. So there's many things I could relate to in here, for sure. I didn't have much from that chapter. Honestly, that was all I had. So we're gonna move along to 8. The quarantine at Alexander Abraham's. Okay, this one I remember. The very first paragraph, I wrote in here a very Maud paragraph. First of all, loved how this main character, she reminded me so much of, why am I forgetting her name? From Anne's House of Dreams, the lady that doesn't like men. It's not Cordelia, because that's what Anne wanted her name to be. Cornelia? Whatever her name is. Right, the last sentence of the first paragraph says, the more I saw of men, the more I liked cats. So we've got like that man, it's kind of like man bashing, but it's like lighthearted and kind of funny. So not really man bashing. And like Maud is always throwing in her cats. And then I loved in this story too how the main character, what was her name? She always said, I was noted for that. Her antipathy to men and dogs was one of her strongest characteristics. I was noted for that. Oh yeah, she didn't like to do what people told her to do. So the minister's wife wants her to teach Sunday school. Actually, I think it was the minister at first, and she said no because she couldn't do what a man wanted her to do. The minister's wife wanted her to teach the girls Sunday school, and she's like, I'm going to teach the boys. Oh, okay. Angelina, thank you. We don't get her name for like the longest time in here. And then it says, ministers' wives are rather apt to think they can run everything and everybody if they are not wholesomely corrected now and again. And as a pastor's wife, that cracks me up. Is this the only one that was in first person? It might be. Yeah, it very well could be. And then she keeps. And then she's got 6 cats. William Adolphus is my favorite among my 6 cats. He is black with a white dicky and beautiful white paws. He sat up on the seat beside me and looked far more like a gentleman than any man I've seen in a similar position. So men are down here, cats are way up here. So they're going to this. Why was she going to this guy's house? She was going to Alexander Abrams' house for some reason. Oh, she was going to check on Jimmy Spencer, who was working for this guy. And then for some reason, because she climbs up the tree because the dog's barking, she gets into the guy's house, and then it turns out he's on quarantine. And she has to live with this guy for 3 weeks because of the smallpox. Loved the hilarity of the situation. Oh, and this is why I also couldn't remember her name, because a lot of people call her Peter. And she like meets her match in Alexander Abraham because he doesn't like women. And he loves his dog. So she's stuck in his house with a cat, her cat, and this guy and his dog. I am not curious, said Alexander Abraham, but would you mind telling me how you came to be called Peter? Oh, yeah. And then this is where she says her name is actually Angelina. This is like pages in. But she goes by Peter. She makes him good food. He starts falling in love with her. She's noted for doing things thoroughly. She's also noted for getting up suppers. I wasn't going to take orders from any man. There was like a lot of funny lines here. I shall nurse Mr. Bennet, I said with dignity. It is my duty, and I never shirk my duty. I am noted for that. And then, I don't know if they like necessarily fall in love at the end, but he says to her, I can't get along without somebody to appreciate my sarcasms now that you've accustomed me to the luxury. So I'm not sure if that's love or what it is, but they've got something. Yeah, there was a lot of good lines in here. And then they can't live without each other. Laugh so much. Yeah. And then she says, what about the other 5 cats? He sighs. I suppose they'll have to come too, though no doubt they'll chase poor Mr. Riley clean off the premises. But I can't live without him, and I can't live without you. How soon can you be ready to marry me? I haven't said I was going to marry you at all, have I? I said tartly, just to be consistent, for I wasn't feeling tart. No, but you will, won't you? Said Alexander Abraham anxiously. Because if you don't, I wish you'd let me die of the smallpox. Do, dear Angelina. To think that a man should dare to call me his dear Angelina, and to think that I shouldn't mind. Where I go, William Adolphus goes, I said, but I shall give away the other 5 cats, for the sake of Mr. Riley. I mean, there's her showing her love. She's going to get rid of 5 cats. My comments on this one were LOL, so funny, love the ridiculousness of it all. Yeah, that was a good, like, light one after some of the other ones that were kind of heavier. Oh, okay. I remember chapter 9. Paw Sloan's purchase. This guy, I feel like this is kind of backwards, at least these days. Maybe just where I live. I don't know. Women are known for loving their garage sales and their yard sales, but this man, he really likes his auctions. His dissipation was going to auctions and buying things that nobody else would buy. And he buys a baby, which cracked me up. How much did he end up paying? $30 for a baby? Only in this time, I would say. As for you, Paw Sloan, you're not fit to be out of a lunatic asylum. The next auction, you'll be buying a wife, I suppose. His poor wife. I think that would be quite the surprise for your husband to go to an auction sale and come home with a baby. And then, wouldn't you know it, they fall in love with this baby. Actually, he falls in love with a baby, and she falls in love with him falling in love with a baby, I think is the accurate description. And then, is it the uncle came out, and Ma is like, this baby is ours. We bought him and we paid for him. A bargain is bargain. When I pay cash down for babies, I propose to get my money's worth. I wrote, wow, different times. If you were to say those words right now, that would sound terrible. Oh yeah, and then we're going to keep this baby in spite of any number of uncles in Manitoba. Have I made this sufficiently clear to your understanding, Mr. Spencer? Certainly, stammered the unfortunate man, feeling guiltier than ever. But I thought you didn't want him. I thought you'd written to his uncle. I really wouldn't think quite so much if I were you, said Ma kindly. It must be hard on you. That one just killed me. But he wouldn't stay for tea. I wonder why. Oh. Yeah, this was hilarious. It was funny and sweet at the same time. Like I liked, where did it? She knew that he was like sad about giving up the baby. I just appreciate the love here. And for her, it wasn't really the love for the baby, it was the love for her husband. Just a cool one. Story number 10 is The Courting of Prissy Strong. I'm trying to remember this one. Stephen Clark went home from the prayer meeting with Prissy Strong. 20 years ago, he tried to go out with her, but her sister. Oh, yes. Okay. Her older sister didn't want this relationship to happen. So the neighbors on the sly help this relationship out. Emmeline is the older sister. Prissy's beauty soon faded. She was always kind of sweet-looking, but her bloom went, and she got shyer and limper every year of her life. She wouldn't have dared put on her second-best dress without asking Emmeline's permission. She was real fond of cats, and Emmeline wouldn't let her keep one. And I feel like that is Maud's way of saying, like, this woman is a villain. She won't let her keep cats. Wasn't that was just in... What did we really read last month? Was that last month we did the Blue Castle? And the main character, whose name I'm forgetting, her mother wouldn't let her keep a cat either. And she was like afraid that her mom knew that, like, her mom would give her a glare, like, I know you want to keep a cat. Those are the villains. Please don't insult cats, I said. Okay, so they end up getting a minister. Prissy gets locked in an upstairs room. They get a minister. They get a ladder. Stephen Clark climbs up the ladder, holds Prissy's hands, and they do their vows through the window. That was hilarious. So true. If you don't like cats, you are a bad person, according to Lucy Maud Montgomery. I feel like if you don't like cats, you're a bad person. Yeah. And then right at the end, Emmeline comes and she realizes what has happened. And I don't remember what religion the minister was from, but she says she's going to the Baptist church after this. And then the minister says, I am very sorry, he said in that gentle, saintly way of his, for the Baptists. Oh, yeah. Anne was in here. Anne Shirley. Yeah, that's right. I think, pretty sure it was like the 2 stories that Anne came into for this one. I love Maud's humor. I'd be so curious to know what she was writing if she was writing these days. Yeah, the ladder wedding. I mean, that would be quite memorable. Quite memorable. I've never been to a ladder wedding. Nor have I seen one. That'd be hilarious if you, like, down the street, you saw that happening. That soft snark from the minister, yep. Okay, we got 2 left here. The Miracle at Carmody. Some of these, I'm like, I don't remember what happened here. Oh, yes, 2 sisters adopted Lionel Hezekiah, which is quite the name for a little kid. Judith was the older one. Salome, is that how we even say the other one's name? Was 35, and she was had a limp from something that happened years before. She had a crutch, and she went to church. Her sister was all against church because of her sister's illness or injury, right? And because one of her parents, their father hated churches and church going, but their mother believed in God. Mother always went to church, but for some reason she decides to go. She can't take Lionel Hezekiah, but she can go herself. And then when she's there, she sees Lionel Hezekiah fall into some water from the sloping kitchen roof. He fell into the big rainwater hogshead, and then she just ran after him. And then they realize she doesn't have her crutch, and she's cured. It's a miracle. And then Judith, who was all anti-church, says, "It was a miracle. God has worked it to prove his existence to me, and I accept the proof." Yeah, I don't know. It's a nice story, nothing else to report. So I didn't have a whole lot of thoughts on that one. Not sure if anyone else does. We have one last story left. Okay, the last one is The End of a Quarrel. She's got a lot of quarrels. Like, this is definitely a theme. Once again, I don't really remember this one. The one with Lionel Hezekiah. Yeah, like these last couple here, not very memorable. Like this last one, I cannot remember at all. We've got Nancy Rogerson. Oh yeah, these are friends, and one came back after 20 years. One is 28, still single. 20 years ago, I thought anybody who is 38 was a perfect female Methuselah. And now I feel so horribly, ridiculously young. Every morning when I get up, I have to say solemnly to myself 3 times, "You're an old maid, Nancy Rogerson," to tone myself down to anything like a becoming attitude for the day. But she has this guy, Peter Wright, that she, I don't know, loved back in the day, and he's never married. He's been faithful to her memory. So they quarreled. Then she doesn't even know what about. Oh. He was ungrammatical. Does he still say "I seen" and "them things"? So is this the problem? He was ungrammatical? I don't really remember much on this one. Oh yeah, she was going for a walk, and she decided to go into his house and clean his house. That's right. Her curiosity came over her. She deliberately went in, intending, low be it spoken, to peep in at the kitchen window, but seeing the door wide open, she went in instead and halted on the step, looking about her keenly. It was pitiful in its disorder, The floor had apparently not been swept for a fortnight, so an idea comes. I'll do it just for fun and a little pity. It's 2:30. Peter won't be home till 4 at the earliest. I'll have a good hour to do it in. Still make my escape in good time. Nobody will ever know. Nobody can see me here. So she starts cleaning his house. Okay, this took me a little while to remember this one. She does lots of things. And then she says, now I must go. Won't it be fun to see Peter's face when he comes in? Ha hum. I've enjoyed doing this, but why? She whirled around with a sudden horrible... Oh, she felt that queer tugging at her heartstrings again. Suppose she belonged here and was waiting for Peter to come home. And there he was standing in the doorway. Nancy's face went crimson. Thank you, he says politely. Don't have me arrested for trespass, Peter. I came and looked at your kitchen out of impertinent curiosity, and just for fun, I thought I'd come and get your tea. I thought you'd be so surprised, and I meant to go before you came home. I wouldn't have been surprised, said Peter, shaking hands. I saw you go past the field, and I tied the horses and followed you down through the woods. I've been sitting on the fence back yonder, watching your comings and goings, just like watching her. And he didn't want to speak to her at church because he was afraid he would say something ungrammatical. So she stays and eats supper with him. And they make up just like that. I wrote, how cute. Kind of like Snow White, the original Disney one. Yep, there you go. Except only one guy and not 7. And that is the book overall. I think for me, like, all the stories were between 3 and 5 stars. More like 4 to 5 star ones, with a few that were just kind of like, oh, okay, that was a story. But she does a good job of making some things funny. Some of these were pretty... One of my favorites was definitely the quarantine one. Old Man Shaw's Girl, I really enjoyed their relationship. And Old Lady Lloyd, I think, were maybe my favorites of them. And some of them were just... had funny moments. The earlier ones in the book were more memorable, yeah. Well, some of them. Like, I had totally forgot about the violin one. This makes me want to read it again. Oh, yeah. Definitely should. Worth rereading. Plus, there's 12 short stories, so you could just read, like, one short story a month. Favorites were The Quarantine, Ladder Wedding, and Old Lady Lloyd. Nice. Yep. Ladder Wedding. Oh, man. That is just such a mental picture that that gets me. More so now we have our first kitten who does crazy things. Yes. Yes, if you like cats, Maud is the person to read. She stands up for cats in her books. Any last minute thoughts on this one? August is The Story Girl, which I haven't started reading yet because I wanted to make sure I did my live first so that I could kind of keep this fresh-ish, even though I read it at the beginning of July. So I'll probably read The Story Girl closer to the end of the month just so it's fresh whenever we do that live. Don't currently have a date for that yet, but I will share it as it gets closer. I love that so many of these stories were adapted into Road to Avonlea. Oh, interesting. It's been so long since I've watched Road to Avonlea that I don't really remember any of the specifics. Although, yeah, I have a friend who has a boy named Jasper Dale, and they didn't realize, I think until months after he was born, that that's the character from Road to Avonlea, and I think he's in The Story Girl too, I think. Or are you talking about The Story Girl? once. Anyway, I thought it was hilarious that his name is Jasper Dale, like Jasper Dale from Avonlea. Maud's books are just like worth continually rereading. I feel like I still haven't read them all, but I've reread a few times. They're just so good. I'm contemplating next year. So this year's Maud's year. I'm contemplating next year doing a seasonal comfort book club, which I know is not an original thing, but I'm not sure if they're all going to be rereads. I for sure want to reread Little Women next year. And I think the only way I will do it is if I make it an official book club. So I feel like lots of Maud's books would work for that, but because I'm doing so many this year, I probably won't do one of hers. But I'm thinking one book for each season might be next year's plan. The Story Girl and Chronicles of Avonlea were both the basis for season 1. Okay, I knew The Story Girl was, but I didn't realize Chronicles of Avonlea. Cool. After The Story Girl, I would like to start rewatching Road to Avonlea. Oh, I'm glad these are helping to reawaken your love for her work. Read everything, but a long time ago. I still have a few left. Mostly short stories, but they're good. So thanks for joining me again for another Maud Live. Next month should be great because The Story Girl is one of my favorites of hers, possibly my favorite. So I'll probably have a lot to say. I know I have a lot highlighted already, and rereading it, I will have a lot more to add. So hope you guys can join in for that. My rain has, I think it stopped here. It's still pretty overcast though. So I hope you guys have a good night tonight, and hopefully I'll be able to chat with you guys in the next live.